What's up, it's Jim from 1 Point Samples, and in this video we're gonna make some really dope Rawstyle kicks. I feel like they have a little bit of a rebellion feel to it, but this is what we're gonna make. Download the template for free, download these kicks for free with the link below, and let's get right into it. What we wanna make first is the punch. So let's loop on F. We're in 155 BPM. I'm gonna load up the analog BD syn wave. LFO1 is gonna act as an envelope, and we can just make it look like this. We can tweak it later and add this to the coarse pitch at around 29-ish. This is the sound we're looking for. Then I'm gonna distort this with diode 1 immediately. Then we're gonna load up the flanger Hey6 Plus or the Hey L6 Plus. So crank the drive all the way. Add a little bit of high pass frequency, resonancy. And now finally, we're gonna add a compressor on multiband like this. In LFO2, the final thing you wanna do is make this look like a punch, sort of like this, envelope it and add it to the level. I made a mistake, it's not the plus, it's the minus, so load up the flanger Hey6 minus or Hey L6 minus. As you can hear, you immediately get that very characteristic sound, you know? We can now tweak this to get different tones, and we can tweak this. Let's start with this sound, and we can render it out by hovering and just getting that sound right here. So now we have this. So I'm gonna immediately work in the mixer. First load in the punch right here. Punch, and let's route that to a channel next to it called punch reverb. Both of these can go into one channel called punch main. So we're gonna duplicate this punch. We're gonna create a click, and we're gonna make the length shorter. So we just have this sound. And now we can tweak the pogo, change the pitch. We're just looking for a clicky sound. I think that works. So let's put that next to the punch and call this click, and we can put that into the punch main channel right here. It's time to work on the crunch, and the crunch is very easy as well. We're gonna open Serum. We're gonna find this analog BD syn wave again. We're gonna just make envelope 2 look something like this, and envelope 3 looks something like this. Make sure it's like 2.7 seconds or whatever. Just a very long amount, okay? Add that to the coarse pitch, and this too. Take it down. This is kind of our pogo effect, and we can tweak this later. So let's render that out and put that in the mixer as well. And we have this. And now we can just move it to get more of a pogo effect the more we go down, right? I don't want this to play at all in the beginning, but I do want to start playing around this time. Crunch, and then we can have the crunch go into one channel as well as the punch reverb, but it goes into this one too. So it's not only going to the punch main, but also into a channel where the crunch goes into. So let's just remove it for now in the punch main channel so that we only have it combined with the crunch. So I duplicated the punch into the punch reverb right here. We're gonna add Valhalla room around this setting, add OTT with something like this, very important. And we're gonna add an EQ. You can use parametric EQ, doesn't matter. Just cut the bass and cut the highs. In the Fruity limiter, just make sure there's no ceiling, so it's not limiting, and automate the gain. So it looks something around this. Can make it a bit wider here. And then in the crunch channel, we don't have anything playing except for reverb and crunch, like that underneath bass. What we're gonna add is just distortion. These two things, that's it. Let's introduce the punch back into the punch main channel. And then the punch main and the crunch go into one channel, which is the final kick buzz. Now in the kick buzz channel, we always add a few processing things. The first thing is Pro Q on the side, just to make the sub mono. Then we're gonna add KHS transient shaper, which is free, I think. Add attack, add a pump, and add a high speed. This is just going to affect the kick transient. If you have a high speed, it's just going to affect like this area right here. I want the punch to duck a little bit to have it have more attack. As you can hear, it adds that initial attack and pump. So at the end of this chain, I add an inflator and I open up the effect. And I add a soft clipper to squash it where needed. Now, to control the crunch better, I'm going to also add a fruity limiter only on the sub. So not the total crunch, but just this sound. This is just so I can control the gain a little bit better and also control how it kind of blends together into my kick. Cool, we're getting there. So then it's time to add an EQ. You can cut into frequencies. Generally, removing the low mids, that really gets you that very clean kick, I guess. That sounds pretty good. Then you can add one more thing, which is Serum effects. And in Serum effects, you can add a multiband compressor, take down the threshold and enable multiband here. And it's very overblown right now. But you can fix that, or you can keep it like this. I don't even think this is bad, but let's add it in front of everything. And then we're just gonna take down the mix right here. This does play with the phase, so just make sure that you render the kick and you don't use this as your final kick channel. Just render the kick so that the phase stays in place. And then you have kind of snapshotted the kick with the same phase each time, you know? So we can go back and change different kicks if we first of all go into our sub right here. We change the sample start. What I'm also looking for is to have these two blend together properly in terms of phase. So as you can see, this kind of works together because the base of this punch is kind of working together with this one. I'm probably gonna render this out just so we have some result. And as you can see, we have a nice and attacky kick, but it does lag a little bit of post-processing. So let's just take the kick again and add a little bit more soft clipping. Put that into the mixer, bam, there you go. So with these kicks, as you can see, this is the moment where one of these two are kind of like blending together. And somehow it plays with the phase right here. So sometimes you want to make sure that it's kind of consistent and it's not ducking at certain points. So you have a very powerful and properly done kick, I guess. And the cool thing now is that I can go back into my punch, maybe render this out and see what happens. And I can also go into my crunch right here and maybe have it like this, and we change this. Now we play this. And then if we want to play with the punch, you can zoom in on this thing, make it shorter and make it longer again with the time multiplicator, as long as we make it E2 speech. And sometimes you unlock different sounds by doing that. Just keep tweaking. Cool. So then we can go back into the punch and just keep tweaking. More distortion. You can make very aggressive variations. So in the punch, you can obviously tweak your punch a bit. You can see where the main frequency is, and you can cut around it to make it more prominent like this. So yeah, that's the tutorial. You can download the template for free with these kicks and whatever I just made on a website with the link below. Let us know what you want to see in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.